Edomite Christians don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I'm gonna call this. First, I'm giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. And before I even, start talking about this video, I find it interesting. I was just searching, we all know who the Edomites really are. So I'm just searching on YouTube to see, some other people's breakdowns, who are the Edomites. I needed a little bit of entertainment. So, of course, I picked this devil. And I found it funny that the comments are only turned off on this video. I went through several of his other videos, and the comments are all on. Matter of fact, let me see. The comments are on. So, either a bunch of jakes went on there and, commented a bunch of times, hey, we know who the Edomites are, blah, 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 get ready for slavery. Either something like that happened, or they know. These motherfuckers know. They actually know that they're the Edomites. He turned the comments off only on this video because the Edomites, that's a hot topic right now. They're saying, one, we're not the Israelites, but also 1A, they're not the Edomites either. So, I'm not even going to play none of his video because it's just straight confusion. And these pastors, they claim, okay, today we're going to break down, let's get into who the Edomites are. All he did was just read Genesis 36, go through a bunch of genealogies. He didn't connect Esau or the Edomites with no people that you see today. Actually, he did. He said the Moabites came out of Esau, which that's why I said Edomite Christians and just Edomites in general, they're on a low level. Now, this demon, all right, he probably does actually know who the Edomites are. He probably knows that he's an Edomite, because he's a pastor. So they get approached. Hey, you can only talk about this, you can blah, 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 blah. They get set up. So they know. Maybe he knows, but I'm sure, his congregation, which are all Edomites, they don't know, And it was an awkward moment where he was talking about Mount Seir and the land of Edom. And he's talking about, how, Edom, it just means red. And, if you ever go there, I have pictures here and you can see from the red rocks. Yeah, Edom does mean red. But before Esau moved to Mount Seir, he was already called Edom. When he was living in his father's tent, his father's house, his father's crib, he was called Edom back then. Before he had kids, he was called Edom back then. So just because, the rocks, whatever, look red or whatever, that had nothing to do with why he's called Esau, Now, it could just be that's the way that the Lord wanted it. Okay, in this area, I'm going to create the rocks, they're a little bit red over it. So this is where Esau is going to dwell. This is my plan for him, blah, 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 blah. But before Esau even moved over there, his name was changed to Edom, which means red. So really, in all actuality, if you go to Edom, the land of Edom or Mount Seir today, and the rocks are fucking blue, that doesn't change the fact that Esau was called Edom because he himself is red. It say he came out red all over like a hairy garment, and so it was an awkward moment where he was speaking about the red rocks, and you could see, I said, anytime, they start talking about, anytime they don't want to say red, they don't want to deal with that at all. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube where people are now starting to open up on the discussion of race and how do you categorize the different races on the planet and blah, 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 blah. And there's Edomites saying, well, hold on. There's no actual such thing as black people because black people are not even actually black. They're brown. And there's no such thing as white people because white people are actually pink or like red. So But when you're talking about the Edomites, they don't really want to deal with that. Because if he looked at his hands, if he looked in the mirror, he would say, oh shit, I'm an Edomite. I'm red. You know? So I'm probably gonna end up finish listening to it just to hear or whatever. And of course, as I said, you know, he labeled the Moabites Edomites, actually. That don't make no sense. That makes no sense. Moab was on the scene before Esau. The Moabites, they're the children of Lot. Lot and Esau are two totally different time periods. So how did the Moabites come out of Esau? You know, so, and he showed a map or whatever of Israel today, and he showed an ancient map, and he's saying all those people that you see today surrounding the so-called Jews, all right, those are all still the same ancient people. There was no migration or whatever. The Moabites, they still right there in the land of Moab. Ammon, they still right there, you know, whatever. So how if Moab came through incest, where are the people that look like they have the characteristics of an incestual relationship? All right, or ancestral ancestry? They're in the Far East. Far East, China, Asia. That's just facts, you know? Moab is not, you might have some Moabites. You probably got more, I was about to say probably. You got Moabites in Africa, sure, you know? You probably do have some remnant of Moabites, and maybe even Ammonites as well, that actually live maybe in North Africa or somewhere in that region, you know? Hey, I remember when I first started learning this, and I'm just researching some of the people in the land of Ham or whatever, and you got these people called the Sand Bushmen or something like that, and they look like Moabites, but they're so-called black people. They got afros and shit, you know? They look like Ammonites. And when you hear them like yelling and their chants and shit like that, they sound exactly like so-called Japanese people. You know, the exact same accent, the exact same high-pitched voice. I might have to just do a video on that. You know, they sound the exact same, but they don't look like, you know, your typical so-called Japanese person. They got the same eyes, you know, but they got so-called afros, you know. So yeah, you got remnants of the nations that's scattered or whatever. You got Moabites and Ammonites in America, you know. But on the whole, those people that you see on that ancient map, it's the tribe of Judah. They definitely not in the land. You know, you got some of them. You know, ain't nobody living in Mount Seir right now. Petra. You feel me? So Esau, when he calls himself so-called breaking the scriptures down, he just reads it. And he don't actually break nothing down. He didn't even go into the birth of Esau. He skipped right to the genealogy. And Esau is Edom. Genesis 36, you know. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. He didn't go into, okay, the birthright. He didn't go into, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. He ain't go into none of that. He skipped all over that, you know. But then he want to call this, you know, who are the Edomites today? Esau, either he knows, and, you know, I think he knows because the comments are turned off, you know. And I think, you know, if Jake didn't get on there and start commenting, you know, cussing his ass out or whatever, then he did that because he knew what kind of reaction he gonna get. Right now, you can't put nothing on YouTube about Edomites if you got, you know, a large following, and Jake not gonna come on there and comment. You know what I mean? Jake's they searching on YouTube every day, just looking and just searching up Edomites, learning the breakdowns, and oh shit, Esau's the white man and this and that. So you can't do it. So he turned the comments off, man. So I mean, I really want to, damn, let me he said a lot of bullshit, so I'm just gonna go and correct it, because I mean, I'm sure ain't no Jake's watching his shit anyways, but this man actually said that the Moabites came from the Edomites. Now, Esau don't come on the scene till what Genesis 25, if I'm not mistaken. This is Genesis 19. You know? Let me see if I can read us some. All right, this is during the time of Abraham. Isaac wasn't even on the scene. I don't believe. I mean, he might have been. Let me check. You know what? I don't even have to go into all that. Let me just read. Let's see. Thus were both the daughters, this is Genesis 19:36. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. Incest. Okay, which is why when you go on Google and you type in Moabites and Ammonites, when you look up those images or those relics, okay, hey, you can't hide it. They look like quote unquote Asians. You know? With the word Asian, it just means east, if I'm not mistaken. But they look like the people who are now referred to as Asian or whatever. Moabites, Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai people, you know, Koreans, Japanese people, all those people, they're split up into different groups. Like I myself, I know Chinese people. You know, I had classes with Chinese, so-called Chinese people, Moabites. And then in the same class, I have in the class Vietnamese people. Now, there's a lot of people who are quote-unquote Vietnamese who are actually Israelites. But these two people, one is from China and one is from Vietnam. They're both Moabites. Their language, all of it, they speak a different language, but because of their accent and because they're both Moabites, they can actually still kind of understand each other. You know, and I've been to China. Chinese people are no different than Vietnamese people. Those are Moabites. For sure, without a doubt. Those are Moabites. You know, so you got different subgroups of just like you got different so-called white people. You got white people that call themselves European or French or American or German or Dutch or Swedish, all right, or Irish. They're all Edomites. They're all Edomites, and they got different languages, but they're just split up into different groups, you know? So it's the same thing with Moab and Ammon. You got multiple subgroups of these two nations, but they're all the same people. Just because you speak a different language don't mean you're not the same race. So it says, thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father, and the firstborn bare a son, and called his name Moab, or Mawa'aba. The same is the father of the Moabites unto this day. Moab is the father of the Moabites, not Esau. You know, I just had to clarify that because I heard that was like the record skip. You know, did he just say that the Moabites came from the Edomites, or they came from Esau? You know, it just Esau. He don't know what he's talking about, man. Let me get this Dan 12 and 10. Daniel 12 and 10 says, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked, okay, you know where you go to find out who the wicked is. Job 9:24. Was that Malachi? You know, Esau. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. It's not hard. Esau being a so-called white man is not a hard breakdown at all, you know. And you know, there's some truth to not all so-called white people look like so-called white people. There's Edomites who can get a tan because Esau, he mixed himself, so-called mixed himself, you know, because there's no such thing as being mixed, you know. Even this devil, when he was quote unquote breaking down the scriptures, he was going into the genealogies. Esau got his first wife of the Canaanites. You know? So are there dark-skinned Edomites in the land of Ham right now? Yeah. But that kind of sound crazy. We know there's dark-skinned Edomites in the States, you know, in America, in the West, you know, because Esau. But you gotta remember, who was that? Hadad that fled into Egypt, and he was an Edomite and had Edomite kids. You know, they probably came out a little bit lighter or whatever, but they were still Edomites. You know, so yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that. That's why they can't really understand. You know, they say, well, white people are really beige. They're like tan. No. No. So-called white people use copper tone. They buy so-called melanin. All right, they buy pigment. Okay, they use all these things, but that curse is still on them. Hey, what is that? What scripture is that? I just thought about that. That's Jeremiah 49. And it should be. Yeah, I'm just start from 10. Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. You know, let me see. Let me just click on one of these words and get a little bit more info. Uncovered, from the Hebrew word galah, to uncover, remove, to go into exile, to uncover oneself, to reveal, to be disclosed, be discovered, to be revealed, nakedness. You know, somebody walk in when you change clothes, you're like, oh shit, you cover up. You know, to make known, show, reveal, to be uncovered, to reveal oneself, to show, to appear. You know, there's been a long period of time where nobody was talking about the Edomites because Esau, he started going by different names. And all the nations, they started going by different names. You know, you got Ishmaelites that know that they're Ishmael, and you got Elamites that know, yeah, they're Elam, you know. But the knowledge of who Esau is as a people, it's been gone, you know. To show. Let me see. I don't need to get that. It says, but I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. So, I mean, there's white people that you got to remember. You got Edomites, like in Europe or whatever, that got like a little bit, the slightest amount of melanin. Because you had Japheth there first. You had Jakes over there. You know, and Esau always mixed himself. Now, if I had the Apocrypha on here, matter of fact, I mean, I can go online and get it. Let me see. If I had the Apocrypha on there, and you do have other heathen nations that, like a lot of people, they don't want to deal with that. They can't imagine the fact that, okay, all nations, they started off dark skinned, but that's just the truth. It's only one nation that the Lord cursed to look that certain kind of way, you know, to look like this, look like you ain't got no pigment. Now let me just get KJV. Because in the Apocrypha, it'll tell you. It tells you that. All nations, they became tributaries under Alexander the Great. Alexander the Greek. Let me see. They got the Old Testament. They tripping. Now where's the Apocrypha? They don't want to put it on there. It tells you that. So when you become a tributary, okay, if you got to pay taxes and you got to, You got to imagine what's going on right now in the world. Everywhere in the world, for the longest, Esau has been able to go. He's been able to go to South Africa. He's been able to go to Asia and just get their women because he's Esau. He's on top. He got the power. But you seeing that white guilt rising up, and you're seeing these nations, Habakkuk 2, he laden himself with thick clay. These nations, they're going to arise and bite thee and shall vex thee. The scriptures tell you in Isaiah 14, he is persecuted and none hindereth. People not giving a damn about fucking white guilt. Bringing out facts. And to plainly put it, it's just time to pay. Simply put. Okay, so it tell you, like I said, in the scripture, it tell you that all the nations roundabout during that time period, all right, they became tributaries and subjects to Alexander. Like I said, if you giving your money, okay, or you receiving aid, but you just got to pay taxes or something, them Edomites, they know that they can go to Ghana, Edomites from France or whoever got control over Ghana or different parts of West Africa or any place in the world. Edomites know they can go to Japan, just pull up and get their women. Now that happened during the time of Alexander the Great. The nations was giving Esau their women. Edomite women was dealing with other nations. So yeah, there's some mixture. You got, like, people think that, so-called Asians are only so-called white people. No, there's dark-skinned Japanese people, dark-skinned Chinese people, there's dark-skinned Moabites and Ammonites, But everybody, the scriptures tell you that these nations, they committed fornication with the great whore. Now, they did that through the philosophy, democracy and whatever, that image. All right, saying that they should make an image to the beast. They did that, but they also actually dealt with Edomites, and Edomite women dealt with them. You know what happened when you deal with an Edomite woman. Esau's very name means wasted away. Your children gonna come out, wasted away like that. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. So yeah, there's some Edomites that have definitely mixed themselves, and there's some that got dark hair. All right, they got dark eyes. Their beard is so-called black or dark brown or whatever. And they might not straight up burn in the sun like your prototypical. This is why I've heard the term so many times. There's prototypical Jake. There's a prototypical man and a woman of every nation. The prototypical Jake is straight up so-called black man. This is a fact. The prototypical Edomite is straight up blonde hair, blue-eyed devil. Because when this devil came out, he didn't have no pigment in his hair. Okay? Even red hair, that's a pigment, because it's not actually really red. It's brown. It's the same as being a dark-skinned person or a brown person, but you got red hues showing, ruddy or whatever, what have you. It's really brown hair. All right? I believe if you go into it, ginger is actually really brown, if I'm not mistaken, So, may not be. I gotta research that. But anyways, that's what happened. And that's the prototype of these two nations. The Most High is a straight up so-called black man, says he got hair like the pure wool. Esau had to be completely like leprous. He had to be blonde hair, blue eyes, or that's a leper. So his children came out with melanin or pigment in their hair. They probably got the pigment in their eyes from their moms or whatever. Some of them didn't look straight up like Edomites, but that curse is on them in general. And even at the end of the day, even if you don't look like a prototypical Edomite, if you're an Edomite, you still getting the same judgment as a straight up devil, somebody that looked like a straight up Edomite. So you got to understand that this happened a long time ago. You know, scriptures say that we should all be changed. You got members of our people who are lepers. They're going to have to be changed. You got members of our people with missing limbs and shit. They're going to have to be changed, you know? So, yeah, Esau, he spread his seed. Edomite spread his seed. He married among the nations. He took their philosophies just like Jake did. Jacob did the same thing. And that's like, this is why the Lord is the ultimate movie director on high. He got two opposing nations. They did the same thing, you know. Esau, when he was the Ottoman Turks, you know. You got Edomites that straight up call themselves Arabs, but they're Edomites. The prime minister or whoever he is of Syria, that's a straight up Edomite. But he'll say that he's Syrian. That's an Edomite. You know? Esau did that. Jake did that. We mixed ourselves, so-called, took on, you know, different identities and religions and beliefs. You know, Esau did the same thing. So this is when that really started to happen like that. You know, when they came into power, all right, through Alexander, when Alexander rose up quick as fuck, fast, Satan himself was moving Alexander's sword for him, you know? He possessed Alexander. So when they got into power, you think like Edomite supremacy right now is well, not right now because they going down. You think Edomite supremacy like in the past in America was that bad or whatever, which it was worse than how it was back then. You got to imagine how it was when Alexander subdued all these nations, you know? You got to imagine it's the same way, like, okay, when you see these other nations copying after Esau, they was doing that when Alexander came into power. You know? Who was that? The Ptolemaic line, they went down into Egypt. They took over there. So they for sure was popping Hamitic women, putting themselves up as pharaohs and shit. You know, so yeah, okay, yeah, there are some people that don't look like a prototypical Edomite who are still Edomites. You know, but the fact of the matter is the so-called white man is red. Prototypical. This is why them fucking Nazis, you know, claim to be, you know, like the Aryan race and, you know, we're not mixed and blah, 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 blah. You feel me? It says, this is First Maccabees. I went on a little bit of a rant, but I just wanted to prove this point that the nations mixed themselves with Esau, and Esau did the same thing. But that don't mean that Esau is not the white man. Yeah, you got Arabs who are actually Edomites. You got people who are labeled as Africans who are actually Edomites. You got people labeled as Asians, Hawaiians, of African American. You got people that's labeled African American who are actually Edomites. Hispanic. You got Edomites spread out, you know? This devil did that. You feel me? So this is a big time period when this happened as well. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the end. Now, you gotta imagine, like, nobody seen nobody moving this swift like that. This nigga moving fast as fuck. And he not just moving fast, he moving hard, you know? Hard. When Esau dropped that damn atom bomb, people was like, okay, that was another time period where motherfuckers was like, damn, okay, we're tributaries. Okay, you got it. You know, that's pretty much what every nation on this planet Earth said to this fucking devil. They said, hey, you got it, bro. You know, we don't want that smoke. That's what happened. Then he took our women. He took their women. We took their women. Other nations took their women as well. You know, mingled and shit like that. It happened. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils. Now, what's spoils? Spoils is money. Spoils is land, substance. Spoils is also your daughters, your women. You know, we're going to get spoils. So that's more proof right there. That's why they said, like, when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. And Rome was that nation. I think it's going to go into it. Now, actually, it was Antiochus. He wrote a decree to all the nations round about. Yo, y'all should leave y'all fucking customs, and we gonna follow the customs of the heathen, or it's gonna be some problems. That's what he did. It says, took spoils of many nations, in so much that the earth, nobody wanted that smoke. This is why still to this day they talking about Alexander the so-called Great. He moved fast and he moved hard, you know. And then the four that reigned after him, they did the same thing. You know? It said in the scriptures that he what did he do? He trampled the residue. He stomped the residue of these nations. He crushed them. What is it? The phalanx? I learned about that in high school. I mean, you don't know that this is talking about the Edomites and this is dealing with the scriptures in high school, but you learned about these Greeks and these Romans, how they that iron, you know, how they did that. That was a force. And people, like the scripture said, the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations. So you got to do the research, man. Esau actually spread out. Esau actually founded Japan. Edomites from Spain came over and called this shit, all right, this is Japan. That's what this devil did. Just like he said, yo, this is America. You know? That's what this devil actually did. It said that he ruled over nations and kings. He was ruling over Jake. Had us in subjection, paying taxes, made Israel. How you gonna make that shit a province of Rome? Come on, man. You know? Taxing. And he did that again when he came back into power. Now, Esau, shit, I'm trying to think when he actually founded Japan. That shit might have actually been before Cristobal Colon. Might have been. I have to go back and look into it. Might have happened in the 1600s. So, I mean, this devil actually did that. Okay? And to this day, like, here where I live at, I see some of these people who are labeled as Japanese people. But you can look, this is clearly an Edomite. That is a straight up Edomite. Only difference is he got those eyes, those so-called Asian eyes. But that's an Edomite. You know? Everywhere you go on the planet, you're going to have, you're going to have that actual nation. Like over here, you got Ammonites. First off, you got Jakes on the bottom. Then you got some Hamites and some Elamites. This is the social class over here. Jake, Ham, Elam. Then you got the actual, you got some Filipinos and shit like that, but they not even big like that. I'm just getting to the meat of it. Then you got actual Ammon, the actual Ammonites. Then above the actual Ammonites, you got Edomites. And you got Ammonites that mix themselves with Esau. And they work together with Esau, going under the name as being Japanese people. But they're straight up Edomites. You know? So this man actually did these things. You know? He didn't just do it to Jake. You know, he set up puppet leaders. He set up his seed over all the nations, actually. He did that. I think it was Cleopatra. You know, black people, so-called black people, reverence her a lot. That was an Edomite. That was an Edomite. You know? In so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. I kind of just switched topics or whatever. I got off that Edomite because that's a joke. You know, if you want to laugh, then just watch the video. He's just gonna read and not connect anything, not bring out no historical facts or the Edomites. You know, they're red, and so white people are red too, and he ain't do none of that. So that just if you need a laugh, go watch that. And gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Tributary, you are someone that has to pay tribute to someone. Like right now, we're tributaries to Esau. When you born, and you get that birth certificate, okay, your parents done signed you over to this man. Now you got to pay debt already. You still a baby, I ain't even took no steps yet, but you in debt. Tributaries. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Now let me see. I'm going to just skip down. We know, and evils will multiply on the earth. Let me see. I need to find the part where, it's not even that important. But pretty much Antiochus put out a decree that, y'all should forsake your religion, your ways, and come do what I say. Or die. Get attacked. This actually happened. And I mean, you don't have to. This man gave the video was like 55 minutes. I ain't even finished watching it, but you don't have to even go too deep to find out who Esau is. All you gotta do is type in on Google, who is Esau Edom. There's the book. It's gonna tell you Esau is the racial stock of the so-called Caucasian, the white people, so-called white people. But then, okay, let's look at Alexander the Great. His lineage is actually recorded as being a motherfucking Edomite. Now, was Alexander a so-called black man? No, he was a devil. He was a so-called white man. So that right there, he's a so-called white man. Well, Edomites are so-called white people. Then the dude, he posted the scripture, which I'm gonna just get that and then close. He posted Obadiah. It says in Obadiah 10 reasons why the Edomites are going to be destroyed. Well, that's all fine and dandy. But who are the Edomites? That's the question. Because when you read the book of Obadiah, it's not looking too good for these people, whoever they are. If they're the Arabs, y'all say they're the Arabs. These devils. Because they don't give a damn about the Arabs. So, just let them be the Edomites. Whoever Esau actually is, he in trouble. So who is he? Period. Like the scripture said, if not, then who is he? If the so-called white man is not the Edomites, who are the Edomites? And the reason why these devils like to push that on the air, they know they can't straight up come out and say, oh, so-called black people are Edomites, because that's still a dark race of people, Esau got up in there in certain places, but he ain't even get in there like that, So he can't pass that off. Now he can pass that off as Arabs, because Esau was dealing with them Arabs or so-called Ishmaelites. So he can pass them out. Oh, these are Nabatean people. Because you do have Edomites, a huge number of Edomites amongst the Arabs. In fact, the word Arab itself means mixed. And when you read the scripture, you know that Ishmael, all right, his son, all his sons, they came out so-called black. In particular, his son, Quadar. So, that's why he can kind of push that off. Oh, these Ishmaelites, these Arabs, those are the Edomites. No, 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 no. When you read about Ishmael, it says he had a black son, so-called black son, a dark-skinned man. That's what he named him. Yeah, so you got Arabs, you got Edomites that actually go by the name of Arabs. So he likes to push that on them. But you know what they look like? They look like straight up crackers. They might got black hair and a black beard and black eyebrows and black eyelashes. So-called black because it's really just dark brown. They might look that way, but they still got that pale skin. Because he mixed himself a lot with them. So whoever this man is, if it's not the so-called white man, he in for something. But we know it's the so-called white man. It says, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Which, in a sense, you can see that happening now. Now, there's still these heathen nations that still reverence Esau. Okay? But these people, a lot of them, a large number of them, are actually starting to realize that this man is the devil. And even though in certain places, like where I live at, they'll straight up tell you, okay, we want white English teachers, or we want white English speakers. Deep down inside, they know that, like, damn, why? Because Esau is reigning right now. Deep down inside, they don't really like them devils like that. Everybody know that they like Jake. Everybody and their mama like Jake. All these nations actually like Jake. When you talk shit about somebody so much and you blah 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 blah, they say, oh man, you really must like that person. So they wish that they could be Jake. And they're realizing that this man is the devil. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. The pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Well, that's another indicator. If you don't have the spirit of the Lord to see in Genesis, the birth of Esau is emphatically talking about the inception of the so-called white race, then you could just look at history. Like I said, go on Google. Who is Esau Edom? Okay, the scripture says Edom dwelled in the clefts in the clefts of the rocks. Well, why are so-called white people called Caucasians? Where that term come from and what it mean? It's the same thing. Cave dweller. You call somebody a Polynesian, that's because they dwell or they're from that area, Polynesia. You call somebody a Caucasian, that means that they dwell in that area or from that region. And those are mountains. That's where they lived at. In caves and shit. Caves are how do you say? That's a beneficial climate for them. A beneficial environment for them. You can stay out the sun. Now, originally, it was Hamites. They were called Horites, but I believe they were Hamites. And they dwelt in caves, too. Everything that Esau got, he got from dark nations, because that's who were here first. That's who everybody still to this day primarily can be considered a dark nation, especially in comparison to Esau. So it was actually Hamites living in the living in them caves at first. The Horites, I believe those were Hamites. So yeah, all these deities that he got a lot from the Canaanites. We know he worshiped the Egyptians in Egypt, So this devil not even original like that. It says, the pride of thy heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, and saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. And I don't have to read anymore. Because we know who the Edomites are, man. It's over. The cat is out the bag. The horse is out of the barn or out of the stable. The secret is already out. And it's like you can't stop it. Niggas like Nick Cannon, Deshaun Jackson. Okay, this dude, the rapper, Wiley from the UK. It's just going to keep happening. It's just going to keep happening and keep happening until this devil say, you know what? We shutting this shit down. He already, in some forms, shut, like, certain platforms on the internet off because of so-called coronavirus. Okay, we can't film this, or we can't be in the same room because this devil, he's slick, man. He's slick. And he's doing a lot of what IUIC had to do. He's doing a lot of damage control, actually. This devil is doing a lot of damage control. Oh, we're going to give you Holocaust rehabilitation. We're going to give you Holocaust rehabilitation? Nigga, we know what the real Holocaust was. And we know what the Holocaust wasn't. You want to talk about a Holocaust? Well, actually, Holocaust means to burn entirely. We weren't burned entirely as a people. That Esau will experience a Holocaust. Because that's what it means. Whole burn, Holocaust. Okay, but the real tribulation happens to our people. And now he's doing a lot of damage control to cover up history that was already out there. We know the so-called Jews had a big hand in the slave trade. Plenty of so-called Jews. Cristobal Colon being one of them. Let's talk about that. You want to have a rabbi on the show? Let's talk about how the rabbi is kin with Cristobal Colon. But he got to rehabilitate you on anti-Semitism, which is just a bullshit, how you say? A bullshit, damn, I can't even think of it. Like key word. Just a word that is going to trigger you. Oh, anti-Semitic. Oh, terrorist. He does things like that. This devil is real slick, but as the scriptures say, I'm going to get this, now I'm be done with it. Let me see. We're not ignorant to that, man. And you know what? Let me see. Just like the apostle said, man, these celebrities that saying that, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. You done woke up, you know that you're Israelite, and things like that. But they are not the authority. If you're going to make a statement like that, okay, we the real people, and then publicly get buck broken, that's what happened, spiritually, morally. You got spanked, man. He put you on your knee. He bent you over, Nick Cannon. All right? And spanked you. And that happened fast. What happened in less than 2 weeks? That devil came with the quickness. He said, okay, anti-Semitic statements, we're coming. We'll be there. He probably didn't even, can I be on your show? He said, hey, yeah, I'm going to be there, on this day, blah, 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 blah. So just have a chair waiting for me, and then, this is going to be the topic. But we ain't ignorant of that, man. We ain't. We're not going to fall for the, you got to be hey, to apologize like that, you got to, if you Nick Cannon, which, I can understand that, because he wasn't built like that. You feel me? If you don't get no more goodies no more, hey, I'm sure you got enough. Maybe it's time for you to step. Just live your life. Just chill out. You know? They done fired you? Okay. Scriptures tell you a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That was embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I was listening to the elders from London speak on that. That was fucking embarrassing. You got sunned by an Edomite. You got by the synagogue of Satan. Okay? And he a rabbi. Well, he probably gave oral sex to babies and shit. You know? You feel me? And you all cozy with him on the show. Oh, that was crazy. That was embarrassing. Hey, just don't even be a part of the so-called black community. You know? Just, hey, just get a yarmulke. Take the turban off or the mitri. All right? And get a yarmulke. The 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And we're not ignorant of these Edomites that call themselves so-called Jews, but you look just like fucking white people, so-called white people. You feel me? Some of you got curly hair because you quote-unquote mixed. And that's why, yeah, there's going to be some jakes among so-called Jews. But for the most part, y'all are Edomites. And we are not ignorant of that fact. You could try to hide. Jeremiah 49:10 said you've already been made bare. You know? You could try to hide. You got all this money. And you're afraid of a bunch of niggas in robes with fringes on it. You know? That's because this thing is bigger than just Negroes. You know? It's actually the Lord that revealed you. And now it's time to pay.